You know, sometimes history hides these fascinating patterns in the most unexpected places. Today, we're going to pull on a thread from the calendar itself and unravel a story that connects three pretty remarkable and, well, very different figures from the world of mathematics.
So our first character is someone you've almost certainly heard of, though maybe not for his math. He was a master storyteller, a weaver of pure whimsy, who created one of the most beloved fantasy worlds in all of literature.
The second, he was this fiery, brilliant military officer and a true mathematical revolutionary. I mean, this guy dared to imagine a universe that operated by a totally different set of rules, proposing a new geometry that defied 2,000 years of established thought.
And our third character, wow, his story is just a testament to human endurance. An academic who rose up from poverty, faced starvation, and actually survived the horrors of a Nazi concentration camp to help rebuild the world of knowledge after the war.
Okay, so you've got an author, a geometer, and a survivor. They lived in different centuries, faced vastly different challenges, and left behind completely different legacies. So what on earth could they possibly have in common? The answer isn't some shared philosophy, or a secret society, or a forgotten theorem. Nope, it's something much simpler, and maybe, just maybe, much more profound. It's a single, shared point in time.
That's right, January 27th, a day that marks a birth for two of these figures and a death for the other. This single date is the key that unlocks all of their stories. So let's dive in, starting with the man who lived a double life.
First up, let's travel to Victorian England to meet a man who was, really, two people. On one hand, he was Charles Dodgson, and he was born on January 27, 1832.
This really captures his split personality perfectly. As Charles Dodgson, he was a mathematics lecturer at Oxford. Conservative, super careful, a big defender of traditional geometry. But under his pen name, Lewis Carroll, his imagination just ran wild, creating the surreal, topsy-turvy logic of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. He was a man of rigid formulas who also invented the most fantastical tales.
As Carroll, he wasn't just writing stories. He was playing with the very structure of language itself. He was inventing words we still use today, like chortle and galumphing. It's this kind of creative, logical play that just makes you realize this could only come from the mind of a mathematician who saw the world as a system of rules just waiting to be bent.
Okay, so while Dodgson was defending traditional geometry, our next guy was busy tearing it all down. Meet János Bolyai, a Hungarian military engineer who died on January 27, 1860. And his story, it's one of breathtaking genius, but also deep, deep tragedy.
Back in 1823, Bolyai wrote to his father with this raw excitement, saying, "I have created another world out of nothing." See, for centuries, geometry was built on the rule that parallel lines never meet. Bolyai dared to ask, what if they do? And in doing that, he invented non-Euclidean geometry, a whole new universe where all the old rules were different.
But here's the heartbreaking part. When Bolyai finally published his work in 1831, he sent it to the legendary mathematician Carl Friedrich Gauss. And Gauss's response was just devastating. He claimed he'd had the same ideas for decades, but just never bothered to publish them. And to make it all worse, Bolyai soon found out that a Russian mathematician, Nikolai Lobachevsky, had already published a similar theory 2 years earlier. His life's great discovery had been anticipated. It was a blow from which he never truly recovered. Our final story is about Franciszek Lehaya, a Polish mathematician born on January 27, 1885. His life wasn't a story of intellectual heartbreak, but of just unimaginable physical and emotional hardship and the profound power of resilience. Leja's journey is just incredible. He grew up poor on a small farm, was often cold and hungry as a university student. Then, in 1939, after the Nazi invasion of Poland, he and 182 other professors were arrested and deported to the Sachsenhausen concentration camp. He survived, and after he was released in 1940, what did he do? He spent the rest of the war writing a calculus textbook, just to make sure students would have something to learn from the very moment universities reopened. So let's just recap for a second. A birth, a death, and another birth, all landing on January 27th. We've got a creator of literary nonsense, an inventor of new mathematical worlds, and a survivor who rebuilt a world of knowledge. But the story doesn't end with them.
Yeah, it turns out our three protagonists are just the beginning.
That one day, January 27th, is this bizarrely crowded intersection for the history of mathematics, almost as if the calendar has some kind of hidden logic all its own.
Just take a look at this. Besides Dodgson and Leja, January 27th is also the birthday of Howard Percy Robertson, a key figure in physical cosmology. And on the death side, along with Bolyai, you have Richard Courant, who founded the famous Courant Institute in New York, and Robert Rankin, a major number theorist. It's an absolutely astonishing concentration of mathematical history on one single, seemingly random day.
Which, brings us to the final thought. Is this all just a random coincidence, a statistical fluke? Or does it maybe hint at something more? It really makes you wonder. What other stories, what other hidden connections are just waiting to be discovered? Not in some ancient text, but in something as simple as the calendar on your own wall.